Don't forget, some things mustn't be forgotten. The shadow hunting me. I must hurry. My name is Daniel. I live in London at Mayfair. What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus. My name is... I am Daniel.
Amnesia is not an action-adventure hack-and-slash, nor is it really an RPG. You could call it survival horror, but you won't find any wooden planks or semi-automatics to defend yourself with. Originally an indie hit by developers Frictional Games, the reason Amnesia quickly went viral is that players were fascinated by its minimalist approach to horror. Very little actual fighting goes on, but there's lots and lots of creepy atmosphere, giving your own imagination a chance to wreak havoc on your psyche. It's like Silent Hill Light, without the Japanesey massively convoluted storyline and shitty controls. No offense, I love Silent Hill, but come on now, the controls for that game suck. Now, Amnesia is set in first person, so that all you ever see of yourself is a static icon for your right hand, and you begin the game knowing next to nothing about your character. Not the world you're in, nor the events leading up to your present state, nothing. Hence, Amnesia. It's only as you continue playing, finding notes left to you and unlocking puzzles that the gaps begin to fill. Yet even that occurs in such an unpredictable, often startling fashion that even supposedly well-established facts can easily get turned on their heads. Boiled down to its bare essence, there isn't anything particularly astounding or innovative about Amnesia: The Dark Descent. It's not a bad game by any means, but everything within it has been done before. What makes Amnesia work so well is the skillful combination of all these tried-and-true tactics into a deliciously thrilling game. TLDR version, Amnesia borrows from a lot of other survival horror games, but does so in a way that complements rather than plagiarizes its forebears. As it is an indie game, you wouldn't expect Amnesia to go winning any Spike TV awards for amazing graphics, but they're actually not bad. The dark, foreboding shading and level designs work well to drive home the feeling of terror that creeps up on you as you delve into increasingly disturbing environments, all while running from unseen but nonetheless deadly enemies. Many times as I played through Amnesia, I was reminded of The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion by Bethesda Softworks, a game known for having ugly player models but is just as often praised for its breathtaking environments. If you're seeing an Amnesia creature up close, you're doing it wrong, so putting most of the loving details into the walls and floors instead was definitely a good design choice. The graphics in Amnesia more than establish an appropriate mood, so I'll give them an 8.5 out of 10. The sounds in Amnesia are a double-edged sword. In some ways, running from the terrible and invisible Karnk, not sure if I'm saying that right, down the watery halls of Castle Brennenburg's basement wouldn't be half as terrifying without the roars, groans, and rapidly approaching splash, splash, splash. Nor would we get an accurate sense of how isolated and rural the castle is without the steadily howling wind and occasional owl hoot that permeate the gloomy windows. However, it is that same howling wind, and more prevalent, Daniel's incessant teeth grinding, or eggshell cracking to the less informed, that get extremely annoying, often immersion-breaking, the more the player has to listen to it. After all, a staple understanding of effective horror is that less is more. A little bit of monster growling can go a long way, but having too much of it makes it mundane, if not downright irritating. I can't help thinking Amnesia would have been a lot scarier if I hadn't had to listen to that damn sound through almost every hour I played it. Luckily, the music is more sparsely and effectively used. There are different tracks to suit different moods, and you can easily tell when you should be panicked or not by how intense the music gets. If you start hearing the "oh shit, he's right behind me" song, get ready to assume fetal position, because unless the game glitches and Mr. Face ends up somehow embedded in a wall, you're screwed. Taking into account the repetitiveness of some sounds and effective amplification of horror thanks to others, I'll give Amnesia's sound a 6 out of 10. The controls of Amnesia are pretty rudimentary. I can't talk as to the Xbox 360 port of the game, but in the PC version I played, the usual WASD keys let you move around, you change your view with the mouse, manipulate objects with left mouse click, and you can rotate objects, so the uses for that were minimal. One fairly innovative thing about Amnesia controls that I thought was cool is that you don't simply open a door by clicking on it, you have to click and hold to grab it, then the speed and noisiness with which you open the door is dependent on how quickly you move your mouse. This allows you to peek slowly out of a door or slam it back on its hinges, though if the monster's right on the other side, he'll typically see you regardless. Another interesting aspect of Amnesia is that of your sanity. The more paranormal and/or dangerous events and creatures you witness, the more awkward and drunken your controls become, and the more quickly the monsters will see and approach you. Thus, the more you look at a monster, the more crazy you become, the quicker the monster runs at you, repeat ad nauseum until quick and brutal death ensues. This can be very punishing, and yet it makes for an interesting playstyle when you're just crazy enough to have your view swinging like a kid on a tire swing, but there are no monsters nearby to bring about your impending doom. Luckily, solving puzzles quickly restores your sanity, though I'm not exactly sure how fitting a key in a lock undoes hours of mental hemorrhaging as a result of face-planting into a zombie. The controls are simple, but they get the job done. The gameplay itself can be annoying, but does add to the overall horror, so I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. As you might expect in a game revolving around a main character with amnesia, it's difficult for me to discuss story without giving away tons of spoilers. Really, the most fun part of Amnesia is playing through and learning what happened for yourself. The game has 3 possible endings, and a secret code obtainable by earning all 3 endings reveals some hidden documents in the game files that shed light on the rest of the story. If you've already played the game or don't care about spoilers, the Amnesia Wiki is also a great resource. Link is in the description. Now, from my understanding, Frictional Games is located in Sweden, so some allowances for awkward translations must be made. There were some parts of Amnesia's story that really seemed a little nonsensical to me, but one could explain such plot holes as being based off the mind of someone who is provably mentally unwell, the old unreliable narrator fallacy and all that. It's no Agatha Christie or Stephen King epic saga, but Amnesia should keep you guessing until the final credit roll. Even once you know the story, it can be fun to play through a second time to look for all the clues you might have missed. Simple but effective, like most parts of Amnesia, the story is worth a 7.5 out of 10.
When the shadow arrives, it won't take long until things start falling apart.
Amnesia's a little hard to judge as a whole, I suppose because reduced to its parts, it's not that innovative. Explaining why Amnesia is worth playing is really something you have to experience for yourself. If you're the type who is impossible to scare, but who gets hung up over every single graphic and control-related issue, you probably won't enjoy it. If, however, you're game for something that will treat you to a style of narrative and emotional investment that many movie makers can only dream of invoking, then definitely give Amnesia a try. As of filming this review, it's only $20 on Steam, and there's even a free demo. Even if you don't particularly enjoy it, it's gotta be worth some lulz watching your friends' reactions. For best results, play it in a dark room with headphones, though if you're a total chicken shit like me, you won't be able to play it anywhere besides the middle of the living room in max daylight. So, accepting some notable flaws on the individual scale, Amnesia really is a neat game, worth a try by anyone who wants to see how terrifying and emotionally stirring a video game can be. With that in mind, I'm giving it a total score of 8.5 out of 10, or in more colloquial terms, pretty damn good. Now don't take my word for it. Get thyself on Steam or a local game retailer and check it out. Otherwise, leave a comment and let me know what you thought of the game. Thanks for watching.